Hello, everybody. So today we're actually going to start our second major unit over the origin and development of civilization, which is a pretty big deal. To start with today, though, I'm going to go over briefly what was going on, the story of humanity before civilization. And as I kind of explain things, you should understand why I can go over that story so briefly. So, the oldest records that we have of humanity, based on the fossil record, go back to roughly 300,000 years ago, and they were found. These fossils were found in East Africa. So, based on our archaeological expeditions and our uncovering of artifacts and fossils of early humans, we can make a pretty solid inference that humanity first evolved in East Africa and became a significant enough presence around 300,000 years ago. And over the course of hundreds of thousands of years, eventually migrated and spread throughout the rest of the planet. Actually, in a mark of humans' own, or in a mark of humanity's own adaptability, they were able to successfully migrate and settle in on all the major continents except Antarctica because it's pretty cold there. But civilization, what we call civilization, and we'll be going more in depth with the characteristics of civilization later in the week, but civilization as we know it we don't have a record of civilization developing until roughly about 6,500 years ago, that's when we start to see records of the earliest civilizations we know of in Mesopotamia, right around here. So as you can probably see if you do the math, humanity's been around for like at least 300,000 years. Civilization's been around for 6,500 to 7,000 years tops. So that is a big stretch of time that exists before we had civilization, before civilization was a thing. And this is why I think it's important to refer to history not as the past, but as the record of the past. Because the bulk of the human story, we really don't know that much about. We only have vague general ideas of humanity pre-civilization just because we don't really have that many records left behind of it. This was before people had discovered writing. So there are no written records left behind. There are very few artifacts left. You'll occasionally get something like the cave paintings of Lascaux, or occasionally you might find a fossil or a skeleton preserved in ice somewhere. But for the most part, we really don't know we really don't have a specific idea of what was going on for these first couple hundred thousands of years up until we get to civilization. And when we get to civilization, then the historical record is a lot more fleshed out, and we have a much better idea and a better understanding of what was going on. And I'm always fascinated by basically this difference, how this concept of civilization is a really pretty new thing, especially when you put it in the context of the story of humanity as a whole. We really haven't been, like, quote unquote, civilized for very long. And it's always intrigued me why that is and what it took to get us to that point. And the main thing to take away from this, and what our main focus is going to be in this unit, is how agriculture proved central to this. Without agriculture, civilization would not have developed. We would not have the society we know today, or the lifestyle we know today, if not for agriculture. So the bulk of our look at the development of civilization is going to be in the context of how agriculture enabled us to go from these wandering bands of hunter-gatherer nomads to a more settled and structured society. So the question I want you to think about throughout this entire unit, but especially for your assignment tonight, is why was agriculture so important for civilization? Why did we need agriculture in order to develop civilization? And that's a question I kind of want you to think about and respond to tonight, just to see what you already know and what you're already thinking about in terms of answering this question. And as we start to look at agriculture and the development of civilization throughout this unit, we'll get a better picture and a better idea of why we needed agriculture. So, I'm looking forward to going through this unit with you guys and basically looking at how we got to where we are now. So, take care, guys.